Ann Arbor's Talk Station, 1290 WLBY. We are back with Damian Farrell from Damian on Design. He is a local architect with Damian Farrell Design Group on there each week. And today you have brought back a repeat guest because she was so fascinating. Everyone loves their kitchen, and we're going to talk about the kitchen of the future with Niki Serras, who's with Scavolini Store Detroit.
Hi.
A little history real quick to remind people about Scavolini.
So Scavolini is an Italian cabinet company, so we import from Italy. We've opened the store in Birmingham in 2010, so we've been around about 5.5 years or so. It's gone by really quickly.
Mm-hmm, it has.
And we specialize in kitchen and bath design.
And there's also a store in Chicago.
Oh my gosh, yes. We forgot about that part. It's hard to say. We opened a store in Chicago, Scavolini Store Chicago. It's located in downtown Chicago at the Merchandise Mart, and that opened in January 2014, so just last year.
Right.
Great.
So the kitchen of the future.
Well, Niki, I think, in my opinion, is in everything that we're doing in homes, your world is changing and is going to change more dramatically than anything else. We've seen the advent of great tile and car wash showers and toilet fixtures and all of that sort of stuff. Now I think it's the era of the kitchen. And technology, I read some of the stuff, I can't even get my head around it. I don't know why we need Bluetooth connectivity with our toasters, but maybe I'm lagging. But what's going on with Scavolini? What's Scavolini thinking about the future?
So, reading some of these things, the kitchen of 2025, it seems a little bit far-fetched for us today, but some of the concepts have already started.
Right.
So when we read about people moving towards city centers, going into smaller homes,
Right.
Reducing their stuff and their space,
Yep.
that really has started in the kitchen for us because the kitchen isn't this room off to the side of the house the way it used to be.
Right.
It's something that's very central to, family and daily life activities. So when we talk about how the kitchen is becoming sort of, new in our minds, we're seeing how it becomes that, center of the home and is used as a kitchen for sure, but also as like a living space. So you're sort of combining function, and that's also how we see homes decreasing in size because we're...
Well, and the social aspects of the kitchen will never go away, I don't think. It's always going to be the place together, right?
Well, but remember, it wasn't always that way.
No, it wasn't.
Cooking was a hidden...
It was a hidden
It was
thing.
completely-
And not everyone in the family was into the cooking. They wanted to eat.
Totally.
There was one person who
Yeah.
was doing it.
Yeah, 100%.
But now it's the social center, right?
Right.
And so there's still homework going on in families, and people are still gathering there, and more, and it's still the open concept. I don't think that's going to change. I don't see any reason for that to change. We are social beings. We've got this thing going. But you're right. So what do you... when you're planning now, are you seeing smaller appliances? Are you seeing appliances that are more fragmented, if you will?
Yeah, we see appliances to some extent. So we're in the Midwest. Homes here tend to be a little bit larger. We don't,
Right.
specifically in
We've
our
got land
Michigan
still.
market, we still have land and
Yeah,
space.
yeah.
But even in the Chicago market, we're moving from like the 36-inch refrigerator, even in 48 that we see a lot in Michigan. In Chicago, it's more towards the 30,
Okay.
for example. Reducing the size of how many burners you might have on your cooktop, going from, let's say, a double oven and a microwave and a steam to, potentially one oven and a steam oven that can be a convection oven and a steam, which basically is used as your microwave and can be an oven. So it's sort of this two-in-one concept
Yeah.
that we're reducing how many appliances you have and therefore saving space.
Yeah.
I have long hated appliances on countertops. I like a space for everything. And the sensibility of that, Scavolini fits right into with your design. Talk about that, because it seems like there's a place for everything, and everything's very streamlined.
Definitely. We focus a lot of our relationship with a client on utilizing every square inch. So the Italians are used to this. They live even in smaller villages.
Right.
They're in smaller spaces. So even that weird corner that you might have, and there's a lazy Susan in there, which really doesn't do a whole lot of
Yeah,
anything,
yeah.
we have specific accessories for that corner that go all the way back. So all of a sudden you're gaining, that sort of 2 feet that you didn't have access to before. Specifically about getting appliances off the countertop, I think we saw the advent of the Keurig, for example,
Yeah.
which still on the countertop, but I think that people are
Not
really...
mine.
Yeah. But also considering like putting it in a closet that you can open the doors to and have pocket doors so that it still is hidden but has to be on the countertop. So like
Right.
a toaster could be there or what have you. So this is how our conversation has changed with clients.
Yeah. And, reading about some of the stuff that General Electric is doing, for instance, they're doing these scenarios right now for 2025. 10 years is going to come so fast, right, in the way technology and time flows at this point in our lives. But things like islands that are a workspace and an induction area beneath the surface, and the ability for the island to read what food you're putting out and make suggestions about menus and things in your pantry that keep inventory and track dates on stuff and place an automatic order with your local grocery store so that it's a delivery. These things do sound so foreign, but I mean, what do you think? Could we end up there?
Definitely. Honestly, some of it has already begun. So the technology will have to, and the way that we use it will have to catch up to what it is that we're reading about and having it in a way that's not obnoxious in your face technology. So for example, an induction cooktop has already gone from the point where we are familiar with this electric cooktop and there's a specific place that you can put your pot.
Right.
There are induction cooktops now that anywhere you put the pot, it'll notice it and heat automatically in just that space.
I need that.
Yeah, so we're already moving towards this piece of, this appliance essentially that's in your countertop. It's a specific, appliance, so you have to be within a certain given area.
We've kind of freed ourselves from the plate.
Yeah, the
plate. Cooking plate.
Exactly
area.
right, exactly right. So as I said, we're not going to just change overnight and it'll be 2025 and all of these things are going to change overnight. To some extent, a lot of these appliances right now are sort of out of the echelon of the average person would either want to afford or can afford. So some amount of it has to become, the mainstream, and I'll be curious to see how that comes.
Speaking of plates, Niki and Damian, on the Scavolini website,
Oh my God.
look at this. I love this. A place for your plates, your bowls. It's in a drawer, and then you can take out each individual compartment to easily access your.
So each of the holders adapt to the plate
Right.
size.
Yeah, they actually
As a grip,
expand and
almost.
retract.
Right.
So it doesn't matter what size your plates are
it doesn't.
either.
It's like a big clamp. So, and I'm not kidding, I have a binder of accessories that are literally for function in your kitchen. And one of those things is we shouldn't just have this one option of putting your plates in this one, upper cabinet. So this gives you really flexibility of being able to grab the entire kit and caboodle, 12 plates at one time, and pulling it out and setting the table with it.
That is
It's
phenomenal.
awesome, yeah.
What this addresses is how we live our lives.
Totally.
How we maneuver in the kitchen. And I think Scavolini has that down.
Yeah, and they're always doing updates and improving how it is that we live because the kitchen is, as Damian said, it's central to our day-to-day life.
What other kinds of ways that you put kitchens together with Scavolini cabinetry helps along those lines?
Scavolini cabinetry, so there's a couple different, we look at it aesthetically certainly, but in the function of it, so some of what we're talking about in the 2025 kitchen is the emphasis towards green living.
Yeah.
Just as an example, our cabinet bodies are all made from post-consumer material, meaning no new trees have been felled in order to create the cabinet.
Okay.
So in addition, you can feel good. In addition to having this kitchen that you love, you can feel good about buying it. In terms of the actual function, it's all modular. So whenever we're picking out a layout for a client, it's very much well, where do you want your oven? Do you want your dishwasher on your left or your right? What type of accessory would work for you? Do you like your spices in a drawer? We have an accessory that organizes them, for example. Do you want your knife block, right? Getting things off the countertop. Do you want your knife block in a drawer? I have an accessory that literally lines them up.
Right.
So it's things like that we accommodate for every single type of person
kind of option,
and what it is that they specifically want.
What about materials I see something on here called melamine? Am I saying that correctly?
Yep.
and more of a lacquered look.
Mhm.
Talk about that.
So a couple of the different materials that we really specialize in are these called decor doors. Melamine is, we all remember from the 70s, is there's this laminate thermofoil, right?
Yeah.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
since the 70s, there have been vast improvements in that, in 10 years, it's not going to be peeling off your door. So one of these improvements is called a melamine. It gives you the look and feel of something of more organic, like a wood finish, for example, without using something natural. The thing that you get from it is that it's completely non-porous. You can clean it with Windex. So for all intents and purposes, if you don't want to if you're making pasta sauce and you get red sauce all over your cabinets, it's not going to sink in. It's never going to be, stained or etched
So
or
you're going
anything
to get caught
like
in the
that.
cracks.
Exactly
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
So it's completely non-porous. It's a really beautiful product.
Yeah.
Wow. We're talking with Niki Serras, and she's with Scavolini Store Detroit, and this fascinating Italian company. On Damian Farrell's Damian on Design, here on the Lucy Ann Lance Show, Ann Arbor's talk station, 1290 WLBY. So when you look out to 2025 and some of the articles that have been written about what the kitchen of the future is going to look
Right.
like, Damian, what
Yeah.
other kinds of things are they talking about?
I think for me the most fascinating part is this maybe fragment. I don't know if fragmentation is the right word, but taking what we've been used to as large appliances and breaking them down into these small components. And I don't know if I'm on the right track, but my sense is that the industrial look we were going for in before 2008 of the large industrial stoves, the bigger the better, made you look like you were really a serious cook. I sense that desire or that need is fading, and as the new technologies come up, now we can buy our fridges in pieces, right? So we can take a big old fridge that we had before and make it into 4 pieces, and it could be 4 pieces put in a row under a counter, or up at a counter height.
So why go to your one central fridge when you just want some aspect of it?
Yeah,
You
so
don't
if you
need
set
to-
your kitchen up, as a prep area, and in that one part of the fridge is all your cold stuffs, things like salads, things that you are not going to cook necessarily, but you're going to wash, clean, prepare, make attractive, incorporate into other things. You can have all of that together and not give over the space to one large appliance. I see that this, to me, this idea of this island that I think is an extension of what you're talking about with induction cooking, where I put something on the island and that area picks up the idea, okay, I've got something there, and then I have a control and I can turn that on and cook that while I've got everything else. And then I can turn that down, and my island then returns to becoming a table where I'm going to sit and eat my meal with my family. So as real estate costs are high, get higher, building costs get higher, and we're focusing on getting smaller and smaller, kitchens and the technology are adapting to accommodate that. So we're not losing function, we're just losing space. And we're being much smarter about the way these things are being assembled and put together. And that's fascinating to me. I mean, just the technology change of the steam, microwave,
100%.
where you've got one appliance that is a drawer, essentially, right? You pull it out, and it's a steamer or a microwave or an oven, and it does all of these different things.
Space efficient. It's all about space efficiencies.
And very healthy, and also incorporating people's desires for different kind of food preparation and different kinds of food, as the focus on getting rid of GMOs and healthy food. The idea that a faucet, when you are, that's one of GE's ideas, that when you put something under the faucet to rinse it, the faucet detects whether there is anything on that piece of fruit or vegetable.
Oh, wow.
It's cool.
That's amazing.
It really is.
So really ensuring the healthy aspect of it.
And on the lines of less waste, I have to see everything. I hate my deep refrigerator where I have tucked something in the back and I find it a month later.
Yeah.
And it's nothing you're going to want to eat at that point. And you just think, gee, I wish I had known that was in there.
Yeah. We're already seeing the technology move in this direction in terms of the modularity, smaller spaces goes. So refrigerators, we incorporate refrigerators that aren't as deep. They're 25 inches deep, which we're familiar with the ones that are like 30,
Right.
I mean, they're really deep, so they stick 6 inches outside of your counter depth. The modularity of refrigeration itself is, And we incorporate a lot of this. I suspect what you're saying is right, that it'll continue in this trend, but we do a lot with refrigerator drawers, for example, especially with larger families with many kids. They'll say, I want this small refrigerator drawers. It's kid height, so they can access it. We got juice boxes in there. We have fruit snacks, or not fruit snacks, but snacks for them that are in there. And we are super familiar with this concept, but even the Bev Center or wine fridge in your bar area. So it's very much about where it is that you happen to be functioning and what you're doing. The appliance is there to help you as opposed to this huge 48-inch, big dog taking up, a lot of your space.
And it gives you that individual control.
Exactly.
You can set the temperatures, so you're only using what power you really need for that particular function. I see descriptions of food containers that through induction are able to cool and warm. So you might have something that you literally don't have to go to the extent of putting it on the stove, but it can go in a certain container and sit in a certain pantry area, which is a high-tech pantry, and through induction, so through the shelving systems and so on, anything warm there that can be drawn out of it and it can be cooled. So our pantries in 2025 are probably not going to be just shelves with cans on them. They're going to be active. It's going to be like walking into an active appliance, if you will.
Wow, amazing.
It's the idea that those, depending on the temperature, you can keep food fresher longer. And so some foods need certain temperatures and humidity levels that are different from, so it's like your apple needs something other than maybe your leafy green vegetable. And I think that is, they don't all necessarily need the same environment, and so accommodating for those things means that when you do go out and buy whatever it is that you're buying for that week, it will last you longer, so your dollar is stretched further.
For people that would like to explore Scavolini, what's your website?
Oh, www.cucinamoda.com.
Cucinamoda.com. That's C-U-C-I-N-A Moda, M-O-D-A.com. When you get in there, look at the portfolio. There's a Birmingham new construction, the kitchen in for that. There's a kitchen and bar. It's Ann Arbor new construction. Another Ann Arbor one features a master bath, guest bath. What are people spending right now in these kinds of renovations and new construction?
On the cabinets?
Yes.
We see budgets that basically start at around 18 grand and go up from there. It is 100% dependent on size of kitchen, layout, and then of course materials. So when we talk about previously we mentioned the laminate, sort of new age laminate called melamine, which is thermally fused. That would be sort of like the entry level. It's a little bit less expensive too. Scavolini just came out with this new material. It's a porcelain. So we've seen porcelain and tiles. We now offer for the first time porcelain doors for your cabinets.
Really?
It's sweet. It's awesome.
That must be gorgeous.
Oh my God, it's spectacular.
And incredibly tough too.
Really
there's nothing
tough.
harder than porcelain.
Oh yeah. It's incredibly durable. It's industrial strength practically. You could just do just about anything to this. But in addition to it being spectacular and really durable, it means also that you can clean it really easily. Like you're not going to chip it or scratch it or dent it in some way. And then of course we have normal things that are sort of the average price point, being that we have wood and glass and lacquer and things like that. So we can accommodate for most looks that you might want.
And this is an endeavor with your sister and her husband as well, the three of you.
That's right. We are a family, like it or not. It actually, we decided early on that we would each three have our own sort of arm of the business, and I think that that's what's made us successful, but it's also what kept us from killing each other. So,
how do you divvy that up?
So Brian is all installation, so he's in control of the construction and scheduling the teams and delivering the cabinets and that whole thing. My sister Alicia is in charge. She's like lead design, and she does all the freight and delivering from Italy to America. And I am the rest of it. So I'm operations. I'm the bill pay. I'm the HR. I'm the marketing. I'm all the probably least glamorous, less fun stuff. But I actually like it.
You do make the best coffee in your showroom.
I think.
That I have to say.
We do have to have some of our. It's nice because we essentially work in a bunch of kitchens. So we have a few coffee makers set up, and there's always something interesting being cooked or prepped because we have to test everything out. So
We're doing a joint project right now. I don't know
Yeah.
if
Oh, you
know
are?
that.
You're working on
Yeah, so it's not quite ready to be photographed. It's probably 80% done.
yeah.
A
But
home?
yes, an apartment, one of the top level apartments in that new project on Main Street.
Oh, wow.
And this is a killer kitchen.
Yeah, it's spectacular.
I can't wait to see it.
Yeah, and
Looking forward to
so
it. Thank you very much.
Thanks for
Nikki.
having
Thanks
me.
for joining us.
Please, love it.
Niki Serras from Scavolini Store Detroit, Damian Farrell with Damian on Design, and today taking a look at the kitchen of the future. It sounds like it's already here with Scavolini.
It's on its way.
Damian on Design each Saturday on the Lucy Ann Lance Show, Ann Arbor's Talk Station, 1290 WLBY. Great job.
Cool.
Thank you so much. It was wonderful.
It always goes by so fast.